All right, so here we go. We're going to talk about obviously geometric sequences today. Tomorrow we will get into, you can probably guess it, adding the terms of a geometric sequence. And of course there's some formulas for that too. So geometric sequence. So you know the drill here. Remember our sequence. So I'm looking at this first. Just you multiply your A1, your A2, your A3, so on and so forth. Now geometric. So this time we do not have a common difference. We have what we call a common ratio. Now ratio, fancy word for divide, for fraction. Now remember when I kind of previewed this, I said you're multiplying between the terms. Obviously, multiplication relates to division. Personally, I'm faster at multiplying, but notice you can divide the terms out to get your common ratio. That's totally one way to do it. I'm going to do it probably a little bit more multiplication style if I can, especially if I have whole numbers and I can do it in my head, because it's quick and easy for me to figure out what you're multiplying by. If I have fractions or something weird in the terms, then I will probably just straight divide them and do the work and figure it out. So for this one, determine if it's geometric. So I'm just nice whole numbers. The question is, am I multiplying by the same thing every time? Yeah, we're multiplying by 4. 3 times 4 is 12, 12 times 4 is 48, so on and so forth. So I'm going to say, yes, it's geometric, and my common ratio is 4. Now, if we want to get technical about it, again, to do your ratio, you could divide the terms. But remember, you have to divide the higher term by the lower. So you would do 12 over 3. Or 48 over 12, or 192 over 48. You got it. But I'm faster at multiplying. Okay, B. Is B geometric?
No, does not look like it.
Sure doesn't look like it. Doesn't seem like we're multiplying by the same thing. There is a pattern, though.
4, 9, 4.
What's the pattern? All about patterns. Plus 15. So it's not geometric. It's what type? Arithmetic. Okay, just for review, you know I love to throw a review in there. And you know I love fractions. Hey! Okay, if you're not sure what you're multiplying by, which is tough to look at with the fractions, I'm going to divide it. So remember, it's the higher term over the lower. So I'm going to do 2/7 over 1/5. Now, if you need your calculator, so be it. I'm going to go old school. When we divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. And that's, easy, 10 over 7. Now, I need to test the next round of division to see if it's the same thing. So now I'm going to divide the next two terms together. I don't know why, but that 3/9 really bothers me. Because really, it should be 1/3. I was thinking 1/3 because I can't write 3/9. I can't do it. So again, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Now, I can tell you right now, is that going to be the same answer?
Probably not.
No, so we don't have the same ratio, so a big fat no. So obviously when you have the fractions, I would probably obviously divide them to figure it out, but like A was super easy. I could just figure out what you're multiplying by with the whole numbers down the line. I didn't have to really sweat it too much, okay? All right, of course we have formulas for this. This is on your formula sheet. You do not have to have it memorized, we're just gonna use it. So to get your formula for a geometric sequence, it's going to be the first term, common ratio, and your n minus 1 in the power. Now this is why I said you can multiply down the line, because look at your terms. Multiplying by a ratio, by 2 ratios, 3 ratios, 4 ratios. You're just multiplying by the r down the line. I'm quicker at multiplying. All right, here we go. Write the first 5 terms of the sequence. Love that. Okay, let's set it up. I'll make it look nice. Okay, your common ratio is 2. We're multiplying by 2 down the line, quick and easy. What's 4 times 2? 8 times 2. 16 times 2. Times 2.
64 Minecraft.
Here we go. Got it. Too easy. Any questions on that? Okay, just got fancy. Don't let the square root of 5 throw you off, people, okay? So again, I'm going to take the last term and I multiply by a square root of 5. Okay, that's great, whatever. To get my next one, I'm going to put another square root of 5 on here. Now, I can simplify that a little bit, because what's the square root of 5 and the square root of 5 make?
5
times 7. Got it. All right, so I do have to do a little bit of work on this guy because we've got to times by that square root of 5. All right, when I times by square root of 5, that's easy. 35 square roots of 5. And then, of course, my fifth term, Okay, we gotta do a little work on this one. We're gonna do 35 square roots of 5 and put another root 5 on it. So, probably might need your calculator for this. What's 35 times 5? Got it. So that one just took us a little bit more work because, of course, we had to simplify the radicals and all of that good stuff. Man, I can't believe we're almost done on the back side here already. Let's do it. Write the first 5 terms of the sequence. Find the common ratio, write the nth term. Okay, so here they want us to do all the things, all the things. So let's start with the first 5 terms. We can do that. 2, 3, I don't think I'm gonna fit all 5 in here. I'm gonna throw this guy over here. Now, as always, I love to practice, review your recursively defined sequence, meaning I'm looking at that k plus 1 and the k. So k plus 1 is higher, so remember that's telling you to get the next term, it's 1/3 the last term. Now, if you're like, man, I'm not great at multiplying by fractions. Multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by what? 3. So what's 81 divided by 3? 27 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3. Got it. Okay, next up. Common ratio. So what were you multiplying by down the line? Be careful here, I'm going to give you 50-50. Is it 3 or 1/3? 1/3. Because we were dividing by 3, so that has to be on the bottom. Okay, and write the nth term. Easy peasy. So they want us, we're going to click it back, we're just going to write out the formula. So first term, let's get to it here. So first term, 81 times your common ratio to the n minus 1. Now, quick question before I circle this. I'm going to give you a hint. Think order of operations. Can you multiply the 81 and the 1/3 together? No, because order of operations, you'd have to do what first? The exponent. The exponent goes to the 1/3, then you would times it with the 81. So don't put those together. Now, of course, I'm prepping you as always. Why do we like to have the formula? Well, you know I like to ask you crazy things like, what's the 300th term or something? So if I want the 300th term, this would be bad on this one because you have the fractions, you'd put a 300 in for n and then we can find that. That's what we're going to kind of work on next. So find the indicated nth term of the sequence. Okay, here we go. So first off, I'm going to write the formula. So the first term times the ratio. Now, we got to figure out the ratio. What are you multiplying by from 3 to 36, 36 to 4, 32, so on and so forth? 12. So I'm going to put times 12. Okay, we just talked about it. You can't put the 3 and the 12 together. I'm just going to leave that set for right now. And then, of course, 7th term. So I'm going to put a 7 in for n. Or, I mean, you could just make it 6. Okay. All right, punch that in your calculator. Do you think you're going to get a big answer? Yeah, with those exponents, don't be freaked out if you get some very large answers on the homework today.
Oh, I'm freaked out. 8,957,900.
And I'm proud that we actually read it and didn't just say 8, 9, 5, 7, 9. Good work, guys. Good work. Proud of you. Proud of you.
In my head first.
Proud of you. Okay, same thing. We're going to first write the formula. Of course, let's just quick jot down what's our ratio. 2. We're timesing by 2. So my formula, of course, easy peasy, first term 4 times our ratio. We're not multiplying 4 and 2 together. We already talked about why we can't do that. Order of operations. Ooh, 22nd term. Glad I don't have to write that all out.
That's a big number.
That is. Can we read that one also?
Okay. Give me 1 second.
8,388,608.
All right, I like it. Good work. Yay, us. All right, any questions on that? Very simple, very straightforward, still simple, but you know I gotta jazz it up just a little bit for you. Find the nth term, so the formula. Okay, so they want the 8th term on this. Now, here's the problem, because I was a little mean to you. I skipped the 2nd term, right? I did that on purpose. You're welcome. Okay, so first thing I'm going to figure out is the ratio. Now, because I see fractions, I'm going to divide, okay? Because it's hard to think about what to multiply by to end up at 45/4. So I'm gonna divide the terms out. And remember, careful in the order you divide. It's always the higher term, the 45 over 4, over the lower one. Now I'm just gonna put 5 in a fraction, since the first one's a fraction. Now you could do this on your calculator. I'm going to, of course, do it by hand, because I love fractions. Multiply by the reciprocal. Now the 5 and 45 I could reduce, so I have 9 over 4. Now that's not my answer, hold on a sec. Because we are skipping from the first to the third. How many ratios are in there from first to third? 2. So this is what r squared is. All right, do a little mental math. How are you getting rid of the squaring? Square root it. So we're going to have 3 over 2. So I know that's not our final answer, but I'm just going to circle it because obviously I'm going to use it. Okay? All right. Now, from here, choices. All right? I'm going to do like last time. I'm going to write my formula. So the first term, 5, times my ratio. And just because it's a fraction, I'm going to throw it in parentheses because the whole thing is raised to the n minus 1. And now, of course, 8th term, I'm going to throw an 8 in here. 5, 3 over 2, 8 minus 1. Now, next question for you. Can you give me that answer in a fraction? In case on your quiz, I asked for a fraction and not a decimal.
10,935 over 120.
Good work on the fractions, guys. Okay. Now, I like it. Now, as always, you know, that's kind of the book way. I'm going to show you another way you could do this too. It really doesn't matter. You're going to get the same thing. Because this problem didn't ask you for the specific formula. So in my mind, I was like, why am I going to do this extra work? I kind of skipped it, okay? Because here's what I did. I just took that last term they gave me, the 45/4, and I was like, well, third term to the 8th term. How many r's are there between 3 and 8? 5. So I just was like, okay, my r's 3/2, and I need 5 of those. If you punch that in your calculator, you get the same exact answer. Okay? Do I care how you do it? No, as long as you can get me the answer. So the next problem, I'm going to kind of flip it. I'm going to do it my way first, and then I'll show you the book way too, okay? All right, second term, 5th term. All right, okay. This one I'd for sure do my way, and I'll talk about mine. Okay, first we need the ratio. So I'm going to divide the terms. Again, a fraction, so I'm going to do the higher term over the lower. Again, I put the 8 in over 1 because I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. You can do it in your calculator, whatever. Now, this is kind of nice. The 64 and the 8 reduce. So I'm going to have negative 8 over 27. Now, hold on a second. That's just not what r is, because we're skipping terms. We're going 2 to 5. How many ratios are there from 2 to 5? So this is r cubed. All right, we're not going to panic. We got it. What gets rid of cubing? Okay, and you can cube root a negative number. That's okay. What's the cube root of negative 8? Negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. What is the cube root of 27? So there's my r. Now I know that's not my final answer, but I'm just going to circle it so I don't lose it. Now, it didn't ask for the specific formula, so I'm not going to write it. I'm going to work smarter and do myself less work. Plus, isn't the 6th term really close to the 5th one? Yeah. So I'm just going to take where I left off at the 5th term. To get from the 5th to the 6th, how many ratios is that? 1. So I'm going to times by negative 2/3. I mean, technically it's to the 1st, because I only need 1 ratio, but do you really need the 1? No. Multiply that. What do you got? Final answer.
Negative 128 over 8.
I'm good on the fraction form. Thanks, Jake. Now, if you're like, oh man, I just don't know if I would think that way, you can write yourself the formula. Okay? But you would have to get your first term, you'd have to do your ratio. To me, that's a whole lot of work. I personally just tend to do that. I just multiply by how many ratios I need. So just humor me. I wouldn't waste my time with that. Humor me. Let's say this I don't know, 19th term. How many ratios are there from 5 to 19? So you would change the 1 to a 14 and just punch that in your calculator. That's the quickest and easiest way to do it, okay? Any questions on that? That was too easy. All right, so